Every Wednesday, we have a mastermind, and I love to invite former students where you are right now, people that have been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. Craig owns 2 schools. Craig trained with us. It's been some years back. I'm going to ask Craig some questions. Tell him your journey. I've been talking about you all week. I'm so glad that I ran into you because a lot of times people think the program, the school blueprint is fake. Some of them think I'm a scam. They don't think it's real. When I'm telling them they can open these schools, become accredited, get this government money, change their lives, their community lives. Without further ado, we have Craig Charles.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Chin. It's an honor to be on this program to just kind of give people understanding and give them hope to aspire. And I know sometimes when people look like you, it's more tangible that you can grab them and just feel the vibe where they can push you and take you. So just an honor.
So tell us about your life, Craig, coming up.
Grew up with a single mother. Barbering was something that was always instilled in me. Actually, it was instilled in me by my mother. I remember the time when she asked me to give her a haircut, and I told her I could not. I'm not touching your hair because I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, yes, you can. So I think that was like the first part of her instilling some confidence in me to let me know, hey, even if it might not be barbering, but you can do whatever you set out to be. So from there on, I was about 13, 14, and it took off. I was a college athlete. I played basketball, baseball, football. I came to East Tennessee on a college scholarship. I excelled in football. I was really well. After I graduated, I left school early and I got to the 49ers camp, NFL camp through as a football player. But barbering was always something that I always had and something that I think I was always going to go to. It was just an X on the map just waiting for me to find it. So I'm here now, a school owner, and I'm just thankful, man. It's good. It was a great journey. Well, I went back to Boston. I started working in a group home. I dibble-dabble in the group home vibe, working with kids. Then there was an itch for me to cut hair and barber. So I started working in this barbershop in Boston in Dudley, Mass, Oasis Barbershop. That's where I got my apprenticeship and got my thing started going before I moved back to East Tennessee to open a barbershop in 2004. And then from there on, I had the barbershop and I wanted to do something different. And in 2014, 15, I came into school and was under you. And from then, everything just took off. I mean, I tell my students today, a lot of things that I tell them is stuff that I learned from you, how I carry myself, just character, a lot of values that you had yourself, just a real honest person. I mean, you could just feel the vibe and that just inspired me to push me. So when I came to Nashville, I was bare. I didn't know what to think of barbering. I didn't know what to do, but I came in there, got the inspiration, got the knowledge. And from there on, it was just, my goal was to just open a school. And when I got the knowledge from IBS School of Barbering, I mean, it was next level for me. I didn't envision me having 2 schools, but the blueprint was laid out.
Now, what did you think when you walked into my school back then? What was like your mindset of what were you thinking?
And when I walked into the school, I remember the first thing you told me, he's like, hey, you're in the best spot possible. If you want it, this is the best place for you to get it. And I just remember that confidence. I'm like, man, if somebody tells me they're the best, they mean they're the best. And I'm going to go in there with a pen and pad and just take notes. I remember you telling me, like, man, you're a smart dude. You just look smart. And that kind of instilled the confidence in me too. Hearing another man tell you, you just look, I don't know if you was Nostradamus or you could just see things or just kind of feel people vibe, people attitude. He's like, yo, you're a smart guy. I can see it in you. You're going to do great things. And then that even pushed me even more to just want to even take as much notes as possible.
Now, when you told people you were going to open a school, what were they thinking? Because Johnson City, that's a smaller place, predominantly probably what, Caucasian?
Yes, it is.
So you telling them you're going to open a school, what were people thinking?
Well, for me, everywhere I go, I take something from someone. Everywhere I go in my life, it could be, I remember from the 7th grade, I took something from my health teacher. So everywhere I go, I pick something up and it gives me confidence. So when I left you and I picked up the confidence from you, no matter what someone said to me, it wasn't stopping me. I felt like I was a missile. And if you in my way, I wasn't hearing the noise. After I left you, it was tunnel vision to open a school. So, I mean, I wasn't really hearing the noise. Just to be honest, and my mind was made up. This is what's going to happen, and it's going to happen this way.
And what did you do? Can you take us through the steps, because we got a lot of people on here. Some are just opening schools. Some have the dream to open a school. Some have doubts, fear, negativity. All this is going around in their head. So can you take us through your steps?
I remember when I was in school, I remember you guys was like, hey, man, you can stay down in Nashville and help us out. You could be an instructor. And I was like, man, I got to go back to Johnson City and open my school. And he's like, well, give us some time. You could, but I set out, I went there. One of the first things I did when I got back to Johnson City, I had an interest meeting. Just had a basic interest meeting to see who was interested in a school in the area. And I think at the interest meeting, I had about 4 or 5 people showed up. And that was happy to me because I know you have to start somewhere. After the interest meeting, I had a meet and greet. And that's when people in the community started seeing things were serious. The interest meeting was just something to kind of touch the water, see if the water's hot or cold. And then meet and greet was opportunity for people to ask me questions again, to meet the staff, the people who I was coming up with. And I didn't try to start out too big. I started out my school with 4 students, and it was just me and someone to answer the phones and take appointments and just meet new students. And that was the next step for me after the meet and greet. So I got my license, and it was all the principles and steps that I've learned from you guys. I remember I bought that DVD from you initially, and the DVD had a blueprint of everything step by step. And I was like, man, it was just, and I don't even know if you remember a lot of our conversations we had, because a lot of the conversations we had, you was talking and I was listening. I wasn't really trying to talk too much because I knew that you had the experience. So I was just taking it in. And you probably remember half of the conversation, but
I don't.
I remember,
I remember all of it. I just remember you there.
Yeah. And I just, because I was taking so much notes and I was just enamored by the fact that you had this blueprint, had this thing laid out for everybody, and just, exactly, that's what it was. I still have that. Yep. I still have that today. And I love information. So it doesn't take me too long to be around someone who's doing something positive and doing something powerful without me grabbing something or taking as much from them as possible. And I took a lot from you. But the key for me, what helped me was I was in the building with you every day. You know what I'm saying? So people who wasn't in the building, I kind of had firsthand to just be in there, watch how you walk, watch how you talk, how you carry a conversation, how you capture the room. All those things I was taking notes of to apply to my school. So it was more than just those DVDs. I was in there taking all the extra stuff that people might not have been around you on a daily basis like I was. So I was taking notes before I even got to the DVD. And when I got to the DVD to look at the DVD, it was just like plug and play then. For me, at least.
How did you find your building?
I just drove around the city and looked for a building that's something I could start with, something that's not going to be out of my budget. I called relatives and just asked people, the network that I've had, the relationships that I built just through barbering. I just called around the city and asked friends for help.
So you open a school, you got 4 students. What are you doing every day?
What I'm doing every day is going back to the notes that I took from when I was in school and seeing how to run an orientation, how to talk to the students, how to capture a room, how to run my classroom. And it was just so much more easy. I don't know if it's because I maintain a positive attitude. It helped me, but I think I was really prepared when I left IBS.
Now, before you came, what were you thinking?
I didn't know what to think because your school was the second school I went to, and just to visit. When I got there, you can tell when you're around greatness, at least for me. You can tell when someone is going to give you as much information as possible without trying to squeeze it out of you. You can tell that. And instantly when I walked into your place and you said, hey, I got you. You're going to be great. You look like a smart man, and I'm just going to hone that skill that you have and push you to a next level. So I was just trying to get guidance and seeking the best person possible to help me accomplish this goal. That's what I was thinking.
What was your first year like of running your school?
It was work like everything else. I mean, everything is a process. One of the things that I tell my students when I try to teach them to learn how to cut heads, like the fruit is going to ripe when it needs to ripe. You can't force ripe anything. You can't shortcut the process. Everything that goes through the process of owning a school, you have to go through it, through the experience. First year is going to be not like the second year. The second year is not going to be like the third year. And the fourth year, which I'm in right now, is not going to be like the previous years. You're going to learn and grow each time. You just have to stay the course. And one thing I learned from you guys is if you do things the right way, when opportunity comes, you'll be prepared for it. Just doing things the right way, following the proper steps for NACAS, try to have your school accredited from day one. So when another opportunity comes for me to get into another school, the transition was so much more easier.
how were your students paying tuition when you first started? How did you survive? Were you cutting hair, had clients coming in, students paying weekly or monthly payments? Tell them about that.
Well, like I said, I watch you so much. I remember you being in the middle floor. You'd be like, I'm only cutting my clients. And you would cut some clients, and you didn't have to, but you would cut some clients. So I knew when I got my school going that I was going to cut some of my clients. I couldn't cut as much, but I could cut my clients and use them as demonstration. And that's some extra income coming in. So what I did with my students, everything was pay at first. I budgeted. I remember we sat down. You don't remember. We sat down and went over a budget and stuff that I left out. You was like, what about this? What about the contract? What about the insurance? What about this? What about that? And those things right there prepared me for the day. So I had a plan going in. So, and I didn't deviate from that plan. And the students, they made payments monthly, and that kept me going. So, I mean, I didn't look for a building where my utilities was too expensive and my rent was too high. I came in with a building, it was about 2,400 square feet, and I got a good deal on it. My rent, I think, was about $1,700 a month. So that helped me out. So I know I needed this amount of students to pay this amount of money a month to keep me going.
Now, when you got accredited, or how did you feel going through NACAS? Tell them about that.
NACAS was a process, but it was a process like in everything, and they want you to dot all your I's and cross all your T's, which we did. But once you get that process behind you, I mean, it's just plug and play. When you deal with the government, they want you to do things the right way. And like I said, just the discipline from day one, doing things the right way, showed me that I need the proper people in place for me to do things exceptional and not cut no corners. So when the government and NACAS, Department of Education, come to you, you have everything in order for them.
So how was it becoming accredited and then getting your government funding?
I mean, it's like a breath of fresh air. I mean, when you see that they send you I think the first amount of money they sent me was, I think, like $36,000, something like that. And once that come in, I mean, you feel good because, you know, the hard work that you put in is going to sustain, and there's more to come from that.
So how did you feel when you got that $36,000, when you saw that hit your bank account?
It made me feel good. It made me feel like, man, this is really worth it. And the hard work that I've put in, it was not for naught. Yeah, it was not for naught. I mean, they always say hard work pays off, and I truly believe that. Consistent hard work.
How much is your tuition now?
I started out my tuition when I first started out without accreditation. My tuition was $10,500, and now my tuition is $15,250 for barbers and $17,250 for cosmetologists.
Can you tell them how the financial aid works? They fill out the FAFSA and that first Pell grant payment. Tell them how much that is.
Well, you can get up to like $10,000 for your Pell grant, and with financial aid and Department of Education, when all that things, FAFSA, all that things come to fruition, that's another, I think, about like $19,000.
So just say, hypothetically, 10 students start Monday.
Right.
How long does it take for you to get the Pell Grant money? Tell them that.
I think my secretary, my financial aid lady deals with that. The money just comes into me. I think it don't take a
couple of days.
The first couple of days. Then it goes by a couple the hours that the students come in for the school, and you get paid by that.
So what advice would you give the people on here? The people that are fearful, scared, doubting, listening to the noise, they working in a shop behind the chair. How was you worked in the shop, didn't you, Craig?
Yes, I worked in the shop from 2004 to 2017.
How much was a haircut? Tell us a typical day in the barbershop back then.
I think the typical day in the barbershop, my haircuts was, I think kids was $13, $15, and adults was at $20. I mean, I was making good money in the shop, but I mean, I don't think it compared to what is going on right now. I was making about $1,300 to $1,500 a week. Yeah.
13 to 15. How many hours was you working on?
I was working about 9 to 9. I was working Tuesday through Saturday, and sometimes I'll do overtime on Sundays and on Mondays. So I mean, like I was available to my clients. No, I wasn't married then. Not.
What did you have time for working 9 to 9 all them days?
Not much. And it's funny because I told my wife the other day, it feels good to get off of work about like 4 o'clock. 3:30 sometimes. It feels good to go in at 10 o'clock. It feels good to like go in at 11 o'clock. it was good to just not going on Friday. And that was my goal. That was my goal. I remember when I was in school at IBS, you would come like 2 days a week or 3 days. And I was like, man, that's my goal right there. To not come in on the weekends and not come in on Friday or Tuesday. I remember it was 2 or 3 days you was working. And that was one of my goals I set for myself. Yeah.
Now,
And that felt good.
Now you're an athlete, and so your body is strong. How did your body feel cutting hair from 9 to 9?
I mean, it beats you up. I mean, it beats you up.
What were some of the pains that you had? Because I mean, you're an athlete, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, my joints. One of the main things why I wanted to go into the school business is because I want to have some longevity in my life and spend more time with the family and friends and just travel more. And I just got tired of babysitting people, you know. And I always said if I went into barbering again, I would go into by myself in a studio.
Tell us about the babysit.
I mean, having to deal with barbers not coming on time, barbers don't want to clean the station, having to hassle for booth rent. I'm like, that's for the birds. I'd rather just have that monthly installment payment or whatever it is. That's one stress that I don't have to worry about. And I couldn't wait for that to happen. Not have to worry about, oh, can I catch you in the booth rent next week? Can I catch you in the booth rent at the end of the month? Can I pay you all? I want to avoid that. And don't get me wrong, barbering is a good trade. I miss the camaraderie of some of the people, but the peace of mind that I have right now, I mean, it's priceless.
The peace of mind.
Yeah,
now,
the peace of mind.
Well, I'm not saying barbering because we got stylists and all that. It may be tougher for a bigger person because you about 6. How tall are you?
6'5".
So
right.
6'5" cutting hair. You had to do a lot of bending over and all that too, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, it started affecting my back just working out. I mean, I remember one time I walked out the barbershop after cutting so long, and it was just as simple. I looked up in the sky and I cranked my back. I'm like, man, I just opened the door and looked up in the sky and I hurt my back. And I remember this guy was telling me, man, yeah, you're a tall fella, man. That's going to happen to you with you on your feet all day. And I remember him distinctly telling me that. And that's one of the things that made me realize I need to do something different for longevity in my life.
Now, you got 2 schools. Can you give them some pointers, the people that I guess fear, scared, whatever, doubt, don't believe?
I mean, if you snooze, you lose, man. I think Kevin Hart or one of those comedians said, a lot of people die and everybody was about to do something. Everybody, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. And a lot of time, doubt is one of the biggest killers of our dreams. And I think the key is just to start. Just give yourself an opportunity and just start. Know where you want to go. You know what you want to do. You think about it every day. You have dreams and aspirations. Just start. The 2 schools I have one school is just strictly barbering, and my other school is barbering, cosmetology, aesthetics, and nails. And my barber school is on the Tennessee side, and my cosmetology, barbering, aesthetics, and nails is on the Virginia side. It's about 30 minutes apart. I can give 10 different programs where I can give license to the Virginia side or the Tennessee side for cosmetology, barbering, nail techs, or esthetician.
Now, tell them what you know how to do, Craig.
All I know how to do is cut hair. And a lot of my students kind of kid with me and say, man, you can't use no shares. I know I can't use no shares, but that's not the point. But I could open schools and I can give you opportunity to get a job. So yeah, but I'm a good ball fader and I'm good at creating haircuts, but I wasn't really too sharp with my shares and all the perms and all that extra stuff. But my goal was to get to the next level. Again, one of the things I learned from you guys is you have to separate yourself. From day one, I remember coming to the school and I had some scrubs on, and you said, hey, man, let me tell you something. Go to Salvation Army, get you some white shirts, some black pants, and a couple ties. Take them to the cleaners. You got to separate yourself. And I went to Salvation Army, got some clothes, took them to the cleaners. And from then, it was a little bit uncomfortable just transitioning to a tie every day. But here I am. I mean, it's really versatile. I love dressing up. I love going to school dressed up, just being able to, so people, when they walk in, they see the difference. They see who you are. They know that, hey, damn, this guy right here, me, especially I'm a tall guy. So coming in, they see who's the owner, who is different from everybody else, and who's making the calls.
So what did you think when I told you that?
It was a transition because I was my comfortable zone was in the shop, just cutting with some camos on, some camouflage pants, some jeans and a t-shirt. And when you're around people who don't want you to elevate, they make you seem like, and they make you feel like it's okay to be that way. And one of the problems is you start separating yourself and start leaving people. All they want to do is pull you down. So once I start elevating myself and separating myself, I start understanding why why the importance of professional image? What's the importance of being the head of this school and schools? What's the importance of leading men and women? You have to look the part and be the part. And it's funny because a lot of my friends tell me, Craig, you're different. Any type of issues that come up in my city and town of Johnson City, I mean, I get asked all the time to run for some type of political office, and I'm like, I'm already affecting and changing people's lives through these schools. Political office is not for me.
How does it feel to transform and play a big part in these students' lives?
I mean, well, one of my mottos is you learn, you earn, and then you return. So I learned through schooling, through you, through everybody else who's helped me along the way. I earned through cutting in the barbershop, getting a great income, and now it's time to return. I create opportunities, open these schools to return back to the community. Learn, earn, and return. I mean, I think that's everyone should be an opportunity in a position to think about not just themselves, but the people behind you. It's important to have those type of qualities and those type of characteristics, because when you have that feeling and thinking about people behind you, I mean, God just keep blessing you. And it's not something that you're asking for. It just naturally happens.
If you hadn't opened that school, what would you be doing?
I'd be cutting hair. I kind of look at it as, me being an athlete, I kind of look at it as having a playing career for 10 years, the barbershop 15 years. And then the next level for me was what's after that. After that is broadcasting or the Hall of Fame. So I had my 10, 12, 13 years of playing in the barbershop, cutting, and the next level for me now was the Hall of Fame, which I equate to being the school.
So a barber, stylist, nail tech, esthetician that's working in a shop right now or has a salon suite that's thinking about going pro, opening a school, but they on the fence. If they don't open that school, what do you think they're going to do?
You're going to be a lifer behind that chair. You're going to be a lifer just second guessing yourself. You're going to be a lifer. And what ends up happening, a lot of people get burnt out and then try to choose a different career that you're not expertise in, and you put more misery on yourself. So my advice to you is just keep evolving and go into something that you're expertise in, and you learn, earn, and then you return. You find your mentor, find you someone who's done it before you. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've learned from you, I still instill in myself and my students today. So if someone out there, I mean, find a mentor, find someone who's done it before you. Ask questions. There's information like yourself who's willing to put it on a platter for you and serve it to you. Take that platter, open it up and eat it. It's great information.
What if somebody try to do it all by themselves and don't get no information, don't join a program or any of that? What do you think? How they going?
It's going to be difficult. I mean, opposed to having a map, find a treasure. Opposed to having a map to get you where you're going. You're trying to go somewhere blindsided. You're trying to navigate the United States without your cell phone, without Google Maps. That's difficult. Just think about how difficult it was back then when people was trying to get places and we just had to go through those little maps. Now stuff is so much easier for you with information out there, and especially like someone like yourself who's giving it to you on a platter. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Like I said, I had the opportunity to be there firsthand with you on a day-to-day basis for several months to get so much extra information that just has me just real grateful, man. Just really grateful because, I mean, again, you don't even understand how many conversations I had with you. And the conversations that I had with you, you didn't think that you was developing or educate me on another level, but you were, man. You know what I mean? Because I had my pen and pad every day just taking notes. I started my school with myself, and I was the motivator. I was the cleaner. I cleaned the school. I mopped. I vacuumed. I cut hair. I demonstrated. Answered the phones. I was determined, man. There's nothing that's going to be beneath you when you're a school owner. Basically, I had someone that just kind of keep me company, just to talk, and then eventually, as the money started coming in slowly, more students started coming in. Started with 4 or 5 students, then it went up to 7, then it went up to 8, then it went up to 9. And then I think I had one staff, and she was with me for, I think, the first 2 years. And now I have 10, 11 staff combined in both schools. When I started, my goal was basically to open shops, but with the sense of understanding that you'll be running around with your head cut off like a chicken. That's not something I envy. So the opportunity came up to open another school in Virginia, and it's just a good feeling. Also trying to work on a school somewhere in the Caribbean, so hopefully that can fall through. That's why we're going on our trip to the Caribbean to hopefully start this school down there in July. I mean, once you're in it, I mean, it's just like buying a house. You take the equity of the first house, get another house. It also afforded me the opportunity to buy my house and
Talk
buy
about
3
that.
more condos. I mean, it feels good when me and my wife made the first purchase on our condo, and in the same downtown area we bought. We have 4 condos total, just reaping the benefits of our labor. So you just have time to do other things, that you can envision, to just build yourself up and just try to have some type of generational wealth. That's my goal right now, to have the time to do different things to grow our empire.
Now, if you had to stay in that barbershop, do you think you'd have them condos? And
No. Being in a barbershop, I think, is so much envy and jealousy at times. Barbers don't know how to work together and grow, especially in the shop where I was at. So I needed to get out of that. I needed to get out of that. If I didn't get out of that, I think about it every day. I'd still be doing barbering, but I would have grown out of that and want to do something different. And it probably wouldn't have been instructor and going to the school, but I'm happy I chose that side. And you said something that I say to my students all the time. And he said, Craig, man, he just said that. Because I always ask him, what is your why? So when you said that in the class, he looked at him like, damn, you really must have picked up a whole lot of stuff from that dude. Because he used to say it all the time, what is your why? And I ask my students, what is your why? Who are you doing this for? What is your why? What is your why? So it was just kind of refreshing to hear you say that, because that's something he hear me say all the time. He's like, man, where'd you get that from? So I didn't mean to steal that from you. This industry is an entertainment as itself, but it kind of gives you opportunity to level the playing field to get where you need to be. And just start, man. Just start. Ask questions. Find your mentor. Get with someone who has done it before you. And don't hesitate. A lot of times people look at something so good to be true. Hey, man, just try it. If it's not for you, it's not, but just try it. It was for me, and I'm appreciative for it. And I'm just thankful that I was in the position. I don't think I would have gotten the information or gotten to be the person that I am if I didn't come to Nashville to go to that school. I don't think I'd be the person I am today. I don't think I would have gotten the information that I needed.
now you got some time to spend with Miss Velma, because some of the people on here don't know
Yes.
she existed. They thought I was just talking about this Caucasian lady that was a make-believe in my imagination. But you got to meet her and spend some time with her.
Miss Velma was so powerful, man. She was powerful. She was stern. I remember her telling me, every time you walk into this building, you have to go in there and shake hands and say hello to every student. Little tidbits like that. Every time. She was just so, and a ball of information, man. Yeah, she was a great lady, and I talk about her a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was inspiring. Just be around good people, man, and have like I tell people, what I learned from you was have high character and have values and treat people well. If you have any other further questions, as far as I can help you out, let you know how Chin is real, man. Chin is focused, he is real, and I'm thankful to you just for the opportunity you gave to help me. And you don't realize what you instilled in me. I mean, this opportunity again just to share with you and say thank you for giving me the opportunity just to be around you and train with you, and to give me the inspiration to do what I'm doing, because I gained a lot and I learned a lot from you without you even knowing it. I gained a lot. The blueprint is right there in front of you. Reach out to Chin and he'll put you on the right course, on the right track.